The other ones here, you know, this takes a little more work, but I'm going to show you guys how we do that. So I have one here that's already started. I'm going to show you how we get to this point. So I'm going to use a single hook here. I do not have any Dacron with me here, so bear with me. I'm using this this cord. So I'll bring you guys down a little bit. Yes, I'm using my Minn Kota, and yes, it's awesome. So you're gonna take your hook. I'm using a single hook because it's got a big, you know, wide line tie, so it's gonna make this kind of easy. You're gonna take your string. I like to cut a 12-inch piece or so, give or take, and you're gonna fold it in half, kind of like you would for a Palomar knot, right? Now you take your loop side, and the loop side goes through the hook, like so. Then you feed the loop through the line tie of the bait, or the eye of the bait itself, essentially giving you this. From there, you're going to take your two ends and you're going to feed them back through the loop that you made in the string and pull everything down tight. Now, this is the part that you know, you need to pay attention, because this is where you set your length. You know, how big you want that loop is entirely up to you. But to ensure that it doesn't change while you're tying your knots, you know, you need to get it set to where you like it the first time. So I'm gonna get rid of this one now and go back to my front one here. That way I don't have this one poking me in the legs. Normally I'm not doing it this way. I'm at a table and I can actually bite the hook into something to help me hold it. So I'm just gonna use my bat. We're gonna take our hook. Okay, now I can hold some tension against this thing. So your loop that you ran through your eye, you want the tip of the loop to be just on the outside of the eyelet itself. That's the tightening point, you know. So I like to have, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, somewhere in there. Dacron does not really stretch, so I mean it might a little bit, but not much. So somewhere in there. And then you're going to take your two ends and you're going to do like a regular bowline knot, a shoe knot, you know. You're going to just go around and pull it down and tighten it up to where you want it, keeping pressure against the bait. So you're going to get that nice and snug. As you can see, the more I tighten it, the more it tries to close my loop. So now from there, we're just going to start going with half hitches. You're going to do one side, then the next side, one side, then the next side, all the way up. So I'm going to start with this one here. You're going to go behind and through, and you're going to pull it down and snug it. You know, you want to get it tight each time. Okay, so we started with this one. So now this one, we're going to go around and through. All right, you're going to pull it down and snug it. This one, around and through, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to keep going like this until you finally have, I like to have about an inch of tail weaved together, you know, that way you have, I don't know, 7 or 8 knots that stand between, you know, you and potentially a record class fish. I mean, you don't want this to fail. So I can say that I'm not having a problem with the hooks fouling on the bait. I'm not having a problem with the hooks fouling against the Dacron. It's pretty damn nice, really. So I even kind of find that it gets stuck in the bait less than what it used to. So, I mean, whether that's in my head or not, I can't really tell. So, but I've noticed that the baits don't quite rash as bad, and it's got a pretty solid shelf life. Okay, so now you get to where you have a pretty solid amount of it done. You want to tighten it all out, pull it tight, and that's what you're left with, right? So you've got your 3/4 of an inch loop. That's actually a double loop, so you have twice the Dacron there. And from here, you do a nice finishing knot for your half hitches, whatever knot you choose. I mean, for me, I'm just gonna do kind of a back-to-back shoe knot here. And at the end, you're gonna trim these off nice and close. Even that one, just one. And from there, I will take, I use Gorilla Glue because it's got, you can get Gorilla Glue with a little paintbrush in it. And you can literally paint your tail here to ensure that it doesn't pull apart, doesn't fray. So I paint this all the way from about that loop right there out to the end. And the whole thing just gets globbed and glooped like that. You can see, you know, you can pull it away from itself. And, you know, you have to work it back out to where it's supposed to be. But this thing's got a lot of range of motion here. So that's what makes it unique. And, you know, as you can see, you have a lot of room for error. You know, you have this whole range of motion against the fish now that gives you complete leverage, and it really helps you control the situation, especially with big stripers, especially with big largemouth, especially with big spotted bass. Spotted bass are very voracious. They're pretty tough to keep hooked up with a big glide bait, you know, because they don't have as big of a mouth. And I mean, pound for pound, a striped bass, its mouth in comparison to the body isn't much. I mean, a 10-pound bass has a larger mouth than a 50-pound striper most of the time. You know, a striper is not known for its huge gaping maw like the largemouth, where it got its name, the largemouth. So I don't fish my drag tightened down. I mean, I start with a pretty loose drag because most of the time they crush it so hard when you're not paying attention that, you know, it really scares the shit out of you, you know. But once you have the fish hooked and you're controlling the situation, that's when I will tighten the drag down and go to work, you know. The Phoenix M1 series and the Okuma Komodo reel, both excellent for fishing big glide baits. I've been using these for a while now. The Phoenix rod is incredible. It took me some getting used to because I always fished a broomstick, but it's got a little more parabolic tip. But if it's too much tip for you, you can have someone modify it. You can take half a foot off. I mean, whatever you need to do. I like a pretty stiff rod personally, so it definitely did take me pool cues I used to fish. So, but that's how we do it. You know, that right there has caught fish up to 50 pounds out of this boat so far. So if you have any questions, go ahead and write in the comments or message me, and we'll go from there. You can check out the Instagram page, Facebook, and the webpage, www.dreesensguideservice.com. You can message me with any questions you have. So, all right, guys, thanks.